How's everyone doing? Thanks for joining me on my small engine repair channel. Today's project is on this Honda 3011. It's a little small lawn tractor, and it's got quite a few issues, or a couple issues anyway, so let's dive into them and see if we can't fix them up. Alright guys, so I've had this one in my shop before. I serviced it a few years ago, put a bunch of tires on it, some tires, some tubes, and did a full-on service on this thing. And it's back again. Just as you can see, there's one more visual issue right off the bat. This one came in on the trailer. It had low air. I put air in the tires to get it off the trailer, and it sat overnight, and as you can see, it's getting low on air again. So that one is one of the new tires I put on a couple years ago, so I'm not sure what's going on there. It could be a rusty rim or something, not making a good seal on the bead. I might have to put a tube in that thing. So I pumped it up to about 10 pounds of air in there, and of course it looks fine right now. Overnight though, it won't look so good. So I'm going to try and figure out where this wheel is leaking air from. Alright, so what I got is just a bottle with some Dawn dish detergent, a little bit of dish detergent in there, and some water. And what I'm going to do is just spray some around the valve stem, see if I get any bubbles forming in and around the valve stem. Don't see anything that's concerning. So next I'm going to spray it all around the bead of the tire. And I see some bubbling going on right here. And around here. So yeah, it's got an issue with the bead. It's not sealing with the rim here. Now, I mean, unfortunately, that is probably a rim issue and not a tire issue. This tire is actually got very little wear on it. So the only way I'm going to be able to fix this is by putting in a tube inside of this tire. Alright guys, so I got the wheel jacked up and I got some blocks under the back here. Now to get this wheel off, you got 4 19 mil bolts, or nuts I should say. Alright, the wheel will just come right off the hub there. So, alright. So next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take you up on the bench here, because I got to break the bead. Well, I can push this and actually break the bead pretty much. And have air leak out of this thing. So anyways, we're going to take all the air out, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull off this front half of the wheel from the rim, and then we're going to go ahead and put a tube in there. Alright, to get all the air out of this thing, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually remove the internals of this valve stem. Got like a little tool for that. I mean, you could just push down on this little component and that'll let out all the air as well. But that's what one of those guys looks like. Alright, so I got my tire changer assembly set up in my vise here, and so now I'm just using this thing to break the bead all the way around. Yeah, there we go. That's all it took. Alright, so Now the bead's broken. Here's where I can use some, basically like crowbars, big wide screwdrivers. Okay, I just kind of have to make my way around the tire. And sometimes having a third one is actually advantageous as well. That's it. Now you gotta break the bead on the other side too, and sometimes you can do that just by lifting it up, but in this case I think I'm gonna have to flip it over and break the bead on the other side. Only reason is because I gotta get enough room to slide the tube in there. So now we're going to have room to be able to squeeze a tube in here. Now, I should have started on this side first, but I'm going to have to flip it over one more time because the valve stem is right here, and we'll have to replace that, take that out, basically just cut it out of here. And because that's where the tube valve stem is going to go. So yeah, you just cut it off. Push it through afterwards. And there it is. All right. So now we are ready to put our tube in there. All right, so I got myself a new tube here. Just went to my local hardware store, again called Princess Auto, probably very similar to Harbor Freight. Now, the size that I actually picked up, this 16 by 6.5-8, it actually matches what's on the tire. I don't know if you can see that. It says 16 by 6.5-8. Okay, so that's how you know what size to get. Next thing you gotta do is just open this thing up, and then you're gonna have to line up, take off your valve stem cap. What you're gonna have to do is kind of figure out how you're gonna put this thing, how it's gonna line up. So obviously the valve stem has to line up with the hole. So, and then as you can see, the valve stem is only on one side. So it should be pretty obvious as to which way this has to go in, this tube. So I'm just gonna kind of line that up roughly with where the opening is for the valve stem, and then just kind of stuff the tube in there. And now you're going to want to make sure, obviously, you get it around the rim, not just inside the tire. So this might take a little finagling. Alright, so I got it in there, and it's right sort of in between the tire and the rim. I'm just trying to line up the valve stem so that it goes right through that hole. So this could be the tricky part. And the other tricky part is once you get that lined up, well, in this case it looks like it's gonna be able to sit there. All right, but you might have to put the cap on it, or you might have to put a pair of locking pliers or something like that, just to prevent that from going back in the hole. I'm gonna just put the cap back on. All right, after a few choice words, I always hate doing these tires, but anyways, I took it off my little mounting thing there. And the best way I found to do this and put this back on was to get half of it on, like I was showing you, just with a pry bar, get half of it on, and so it'll come across like this. And then the best thing to do is just sit on the ground, put your knee on the part that's actually already on the rim, and then with very small, like if it's coming across your rim like this, right where it's starting to come across, just put that in there and try and go a little bit at a time across the rim. Don't try and do it like right in the middle and try and do it all in one foul swoop. Just kind of put it in there a little bit at a time to get a little bit onto the rim, a little bit at a time, and then eventually you get it all the way on the rim. So to set the bead here, what we're going to do next is just fill up the tube. We might need to fill it up a little bit more than the the tire pressure that it says here. I think it says this says 26 psi. I usually fill up these back tires to about 10 psi. But anyways, we're gonna just fill this thing up till we hear that the tire pop onto the bead, and then we're gonna adjust the air pressure from there. Alright guys, so there it is. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt to change one of these tires out, but it is doable with the right tools, a little bit of patience. So hopefully this video is informative. If you liked it, please smash the like button. That helps me out on the channel. If you're not a subscriber and you like this kind of stuff, this is the channel for you. So consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. I do post a video like this each and every week. So thanks for tuning in. Till our next project, take care.